What's up, nation? Today let's talk Breath of the Wild 2 and what to expect. Are you guys as ready for new Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 content as I am? It's been a whole year since we saw the original trailer released from Nintendo. Last year's E3, remember when that was a thing in 2019 before the world went crazy? So I'm still trying to struggle through not getting anything new, but I did want to talk through everything that we do know so far today with Breath of the Wild. It is a game that I'm going to be covering going forward on this channel with gameplay, with guides and reviews and more. So, with that being said, I wanted to put out one video that's just a quick summary of everything that we do know, kind of share with you guys how excited I am about this title, how excited I am to see the dark tone, very similar to that of maybe the next level of Majora's Mask even. I think it goes way darker than Majora's Mask, and I'm excited for that, excited to see the return of Ganon, and I wanted to get a dialogue started with you guys at Sunbro Nation to see what is it that you're most excited for going into this game, what rumors and speculations do you believe, and things like that. So we're going to summarize what we do know official today, and then a couple of the most likely rumors that we've heard from people who have kind of torn this trailer apart piece by piece. I know it's been done a lot, so I won't redo the same thing, but there it is from Nintendo. We have development confirmation that Breath of the Wild 2, or the sequel to Breath of the Wild rather, is officially underway. Now that's, like I said, a full year ago. Historically, Nintendo takes quite a bit longer to develop Zelda titles than most of their others. With that being said, I don't know what to expect in terms of Breath of the Wild 2. We do know they're using the same world and the same engine, so that's obviously a huge chunk of the work. But then we also know we went through a pandemic in 2020, and we've seen a number of game delays due to that. So I don't know if Breath of the Wild was affected by that. Another fun fact is that we do know that the 35th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda series is indeed next year. In fact, February of next year. So maybe Nintendo aligns the release along with that 35th anniversary. At the very least, I could see them doing something where they release it at the tail end of next year, and then we maybe get like another remake, Link's Awakening style or something like that on the Nintendo Switch to kind of hold us over until the back half of the year. But I think Nintendo's going to go all out for the 35th anniversary. It's obviously a big deal when one of their main franchises hits that number. So it's really exciting for me. Hopefully you guys share the excitement in that. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and transition over to an article from Nintendo Life that does a really great job breaking down all of the facts that we know and then the most likely rumors. So let's jump into that. So what's been confirmed so far about Breath of the Wild 2? Not a lot. So Eiji Aonuma talked about the team's desire to return to an established Hyrule from Breath of the Wild and incorporate new gameplay and story into that world. This grew from an overabundance of ideas for DLC. He specifically called it a continuation of Breath of the Wild. So it's definitely the same Link and Zelda we've known from the past 4 years. So that's a really interesting thing. So they actually developed this game out of the core of having too many ideas to just continue to do DLC packs for Breath of the Wild. So they said, we have such a great, huge open world that we've established. We've accomplished so much with this first title, as opposed to just continuing to release DLC packs. Let's go ahead and just start a new game from the ground up in the same world and with the same engine, which helps us out in development time, like we talked about earlier. So they're not just starting from scratch. But that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that this game actually spawned out of just a bunch of DLC ideas that they were going to continue to support Breath of the Wild 1 with. The sequel is being directed by Hidemaru Fujibayashi, the same man who took the wheel on the previous game, as well as several previous entries in the series. Fujibayashi reportedly took inspiration from Skyrim while developing Breath of the Wild, and the series boss Aonuma confirmed that many of the younger staff on a sequel have been playing Red Dead Redemption 2. Although how that will manifest in the final product is still unknown at the moment, Eiji Aonuma also said this entry in the series would be darker, so more Majora's Mask than Minish Cap. So I think it's obvious that it's a darker title, like we already mentioned from the trailer. We have music playing backwards, super creepy. We have a dead, mummified corpse of Ganondorf that snaps his neck back into the right direction to let you know that he's coming back. So that's definitely got like the horror movie theme going for it. So I think that we are going to see a return to a darker world, which I really like from Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and games like that. I do think Nintendo knows how to tell that story very well, so hopefully they just take it to the next level here. The Red Dead Redemption Redemption 2 piece was kind of interesting to me. So I wonder if the developers are getting ideas for maybe different side quests or things that we don't really know. I mean, that's has yet to be confirmed on how they're going to implement that. But seeing that it has inspiration from that game, obviously both Zelda and Red Dead Redemption 2 are an open world, open style game where you can kind of play them how you want. But I'll be curious to see, since they're so different, how they might, maybe help each other out, or how the developers might have some new ideas that spawn out of playing that. So that remains to be seen. Speaking at E3 2019 with both IGN and Kotaku, Eiji Aonuma artfully dodged questions regarding Zelda as a playable character, whether in solo or co-op mode. When asked, he replied with this vague statement. It's kind of interesting that you bring that up, because in Breath of the Wild, you see Zelda and Link together often too. So to go straight into the thought of co-op is very interesting to me. Is co-op interesting to him, or is simply the notion of that occurring to the interviewer? It's not much to go on, and Aonuma has had to become adept over the years at deflecting lines of questioning and giving cryptic responses. All we can really deduce is that he's familiar with the concept of co-op, obviously, and that he's heard fans hoping to play as Zelda in the previous game. So I think this might be a perfect time to introduce Zelda as a playable character. That's my own personal takeaway, even if it's not in a co-op setting, because that would be a lot to take on. If it's not co-op, but it's something where, maybe there's sections of the game where you play as her to get to a certain quest done, or even like a mainline series quest from her perspective. I think that would be really interesting, and it would be something brand new for the series. There's also a lot of speculation based off just the length of her hair in the trailer that it's more than likely that she's going to be a playable character. That doesn't really prove that necessarily, but if you're a developer, you probably don't want to have the hair swinging around if you're doing the swords and arrows and whatever she might end up using as her item arsenal. But then you do have to have the conversation of, do we have two inventory systems at that point, and does she have her own items that she gets that only she can use, and Link can only use his items, and so forth. So it obviously would make a more complex development cycle, but I think it'd be really exciting if they pull it off right. Co-op would be amazing, but I'd be amazed if we do see it. I just don't think, I think that's less likely of the two. I think what's more likely is that you maybe will take over Zelda at a certain point, because it would be really interesting to see them try to balance the world of Zelda around a co-op theme. So now the enemies have to have AI to defend against two players instead of one. Do they spike boss difficulty and stuff like that, kind of similar to like the Souls games that we cover here? Do they spike the difficulty of the bosses based off you having two players or not? So there's a lot of balancing that goes on there. Maybe we see co-op one day in a mainline Zelda game. It's probably not in like a sequel to Breath of the Wild like this one. So that's just my own thought, but I would be curious to know what you guys think on that particular part. And then the next interesting piece here is, so Tyler McVicker, who runs Valve News Network YouTube channel and has a Nintendo channel on the side, has detailed a number of Breath of the Wild 2 rumors. Here's a full summary via Gaming Links and Rumors subreddit. So this is rumors, it's not official, but it is very interesting, and it has come from a somewhat credible source. So it's at least, taking a look at, just take it with a pinch of salt that it might not be factual information as far as what we'll see in the final game. So unlike the first part, the game will be linear at the beginning. Canonically, Link already knows Hyrule, so there's no point in climbing the towers again. Totally agree with that. There's no reason to go just re-explore the same land that we saw before. Like, I'm sure that they're probably going to switch that up. Instead, the developers have filled the world with the miasmic version of Ganon, and until the infection is cleared from location to location, it will be impossible to move around the entire Hyrule. In this regard, the locations are worked out to be much deeper than in the original. At the very least, McVicker hints at the appearance of dungeons, strongly inspired by one game that knows a lot about spreading dungeons around the open world. We don't know what that game is. He's just referencing one that has basically inspired the series. In general, while designing the world of Breath of the Wild 2, developers were inspired by Red Dead Redemption 2, officially known, and another unknown game. So my takeaway from that is, I think we're going to see dungeons back. I hope we are. I don't know what you guys felt about Breath of the Wild 1, but as somebody who's played Zelda literally every game religiously since Ocarina of Time when it released in '96, I really miss traditional dungeons. I love what they did with the new open world. I love what they did with the story. I do feel like it's the correct evolution for the Zelda franchise to go through, but I really missed at the end of it, I missed that I just conquered the forest temple, so I know the fire temple is my next stop, and then I'm gonna see the cutscenes and the stories unfold between each one. I want like full-length dungeons. The divine beasts were great, but they felt like kind of like a puzzle that I was trying to solve, and then to ultimately get to a boss fight. And once I did one of them, I kind of knew what to expect in all of them. So I don't feel like there was enough variety there. And then obviously we had a ton of shrines, which were great for like the first 50 to 60. I was like just flying through them, having fun. You get to 100 plus shrines, and it does kind of start to get repetitive. And I think those are probably my two only real gripes about the first Breath of the Wild, is that there wasn't enough variety in the dungeons, and then there wasn't enough variety even in the shrines, because it's all kind of in the same setting. You're just going through a different puzzle on each one. So I sure hope that they go back to a dungeon format. I wouldn't be opposed to 6 to 8 of them. I think like that's a great number, as long as they can come up with creative bosses and creative themes for each of them. So I really hope that they do go in that direction, and there are strong rumors indicating that they will. So hopefully we see that in Breath of the Wild 2. And the last important thing to note from this article is, although none of that information sounds implausible, it's important to note that nothing is confirmed. So with Nintendo, you're still not making this official. What are you guys most excited about from these rumors? Do you think that there's any truth to the fact that we're going to see full-scale dungeons come back? I would love to know your thoughts, so make sure you share those below in a comment, and I look forward to discussing with you guys about it. I will reply to all the comments on my video, so look forward to that discussion as well. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I hope everybody else out there is as excited as I am for the Breath of the Wild sequel. If you are, and you want to make sure you stay up to date with the news on the game as it comes out, please be sure to join Sunbro Nation today and subscribe below. Also help support the channel by hitting that like button, and if you share it with your friends that you think will be interested in this content too, it's greatly appreciated as we try to grow this channel here together. So if you're not a part of the nation today, please do so by subscribing below. Thanks for sticking around. Keep it tuned in here for all the latest news videos as it relates to Breath of the Wild 2, Demon Souls Remake, Elden Ring, new Mario information as it comes out. Really all the main games I'm most passionate about is what we're going to be covering on this channel. So if you share any of those interests, make sure you join today and share it with your friends, and it's much appreciated. You guys have a great day. Sunbro Nation out.